Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that, let's be honest, most of us avoid thinking about at all costs, even though we're hurtling through the air in a metal tube at 35,000 feet, the causes of plane crashes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Boom, Jay, I'm trying to enjoy my lukewarm airplane coffee and stale Biscoff cookie here. Why you gotta harsh my mellow? And listen, I get it. But the truth is, understanding what can go wrong in the air is actually the first step to feeling a little bit better about, going wrong in the air. So buckle up, tray tables in their full upright and locked position, because we're about to take a deep dive into the wild world of aviation disasters and hopefully emerge from the wreckage with a slightly better understanding of how to prevent them. Let's be clear. Pilots are generally incredible at their jobs. They're basically the brain surgeons of the sky, except instead of saving one life at a time, they're responsible for hundreds of screaming babies and people clipping their toenails in seat 23B. But even with rigorous training and more hours logged than a long-haul trucker on a Red Bull bender, pilots are still human. And humans, as we all know from experience, make mistakes. Whether it's misjudging weather conditions, miscommunicating with air traffic control, or just having a really bad day at the office, pilot error is a leading cause of aviation accidents. Now, I'm not saying we should just throw pilots under the proverbial bus, or, Boeing 747 here. The reality is that pilot error often stems from systemic issues like inadequate training, fatigue, or pressure from airlines to stick to unrealistic schedules. It's like asking a surgeon to operate after pulling an all-nighter fueled by nothing but coffee, and the existential dread of knowing they're one wrong snip away from a malpractice lawsuit. Modern aircraft are marvels of engineering, a testament to humanity's ability to defy gravity and common sense. But even the most sophisticated machines are not immune to the occasional hiccup. And when those hiccups happen at 30,000 feet, well, let's just say it's not ideal. We're talking engine failure, faulty sensors, structural defects. Basically anything that can turn your comfy flight into a terrifying reenactment of that scene in Titanic, where everyone's scrambling for a life vest. And don't even get me started on the joys of bird strikes, which we'll delve into later. The good news is that, thanks to rigorous maintenance schedules and increasingly sophisticated safety features, mechanical failures are relatively rare. But when they do happen, it's a stark reminder that even the most advanced technology can't always outsmart the capricious whims of fate. Chapter 3. Weather conditions. Mother Nature does not negotiate with your flight itinerary. Weather. It's the one thing we can all rely on to be utterly unpredictable, especially when you're trapped in a metal tube hurtling through the sky. From thunderstorms and lightning strikes to fog thicker than a London pea souper, Mother Nature has a knack for throwing a wrench, or should I say, wing, into even the best-laid flight plans. Now, I'm not talking about your average turbulence here, the kind that sends your ginger ale sloshing around like it's in a cocktail shaker. I'm talking about severe weather events that can rip apart an aircraft like it's a flimsy paper airplane. And while pilots do their best to navigate around these meteorological mayhem makers, sometimes it's just not possible. This is why airlines are constantly monitoring weather patterns using sophisticated radar systems and meteorological data to make those crucial go/no-go decisions. Because let's be honest, no one wants to be on a plane when Mother Nature decides it's time for a mid-air tantrum. Chapter 4. Bird strikes. Feathered friends or flying fod. We've all enjoyed watching birds soar gracefully through the sky, their wings tracing elegant arcs against the clouds. But those majestic creatures take on a whole new level of terror when they're sucked into a jet engine at 500 miles per hour. Bird strikes, as they're charmingly called, are a surprisingly common occurrence in aviation. And while a single sparrow might not bring down a jumbo jet, although it's happened, a flock of geese can cause catastrophic damage. Just ask Captain Sully Sullenberger, who famously landed a US Airways flight in the Hudson River after a flock of Canada geese took out both engines. The good news is that airports and airlines are constantly working to mitigate the risk of bird strikes, using everything from trained falcons to pyrotechnics to scare birds away from runways. It's like a never-ending game of avian whack-a-mole, but with much higher stakes. Chapter 5. Sabotage or terrorism. Because sometimes it's not the plane, it's the people. This is the one nobody wants to talk about, but it's a grim reality in our world. From hijackings to bombings, the threat of sabotage or terrorism is a constant concern for the aviation industry. These acts, driven by malice and a desire to inflict harm, are thankfully rare, but their impact is always significant. They not only result in tragic loss of life, but also erode public trust in air travel and lead to increased security measures that can make flying feel more like navigating a maximum security prison than a convenient mode of transportation. The good news is that the aviation industry has made significant strides in security since 9/11, implementing stringent screening procedures, reinforced cockpit doors, and increased intelligence sharing to prevent these horrific acts. So, are we all doomed? Spoiler, probably not. Well, there you have it, a crash course, pun intended, in the terrifying but thankfully rare world of plane crashes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Boom, Jay, I'm never setting foot on a plane again. I'm officially a Greyhound person now, but before you swear off air travel and invest in a lifetime supply of Dramamine, here's the thing. Flying is still statistically the safest way to travel. You're more likely to be struck by lightning while simultaneously being eaten by a shark than you are to be in a plane crash. So the next time you're nervously clutching your armrest as the plane hits a patch of turbulence, remember this. There are countless people working tirelessly behind the scenes to get you to your destination safely. And that, my friends, is something worth feeling at least a little bit good about.